The Stranger by Albert Camus is a fascinating philosophical novel that explores profound questions about life, death, freedom, morality, and what it means to be human. Published in 1942, it tells the story of a man named Meursault who seems detached from society and indifferent to life. Let's dive into the key themes and ideas from this classic work of existentialist literature. The opening lines set the tone for the entire book. Mother died today, or maybe yesterday, I don't know. Meursault casually mentions his mother's death like it's a minor detail, showing his emotional detachment. When he attends her funeral, he feels nothing. This apparent lack of grief foreshadows the central theme, Meursault's indifference to life. He drifts through life without goals or meaning. Each day is much the same routine of work, swimming, movies, and casual relationships. Meursault doesn't think deeply about his choices or their consequences. He simply lives in the present moment. The universe is also indifferent according to Meursault. Nothing has inherent meaning or value. There is no God or cosmic plan that orders the world. Existence is ultimately meaningless. Meursault's indifference results in his alienation from society. He doesn't understand why people cling to religion, rituals, and abstract ideals for comfort and stability. He rejects these things as artificial constructs. This alienation is clear during his mother's funeral when he refuses to view her body, smoke by her casket, or participate in religious customs. His callous behavior shocks people and brands him an outsider. Meursault's indifference reaches new heights when he impulsively commits murder. After a fight on the beach, he shoots and kills an Arab man. He describes the act with chilling detachment, feeling neither guilt nor remorse. When interrogated by the judge about why he committed this senseless act, Meursault simply states that it was because of the sun. He shows no understanding of morality or sin. Meursault's indifference to life becomes most apparent as he faces execution. In his final days in prison, he still can't comprehend why his trial and impending death matter so much to society. He realizes that he's being executed not just for the murder, but for his unwillingness to conform to social norms and play society's games. They condemn him as a monster and criminal for not subscribing to their values. Facing death, Meursault finally grasps the meaninglessness of existence. Nothing lasts, so nothing has value. He embraces the benign indifference of the universe and finds peace as he prepares to return to its eternal void. Meursault serves as an extreme example of an indifferent attitude toward life. His existence drifts day to day without purpose or passion. So what is Camus saying here about the human condition? While The Stranger represents one response to life's absurdity and meaninglessness, Camus actually thought the opposite attitude was more authentic, embracing life's fullness with relentless passion. In his essay, The Myth of Sisyphus, Camus uses the Greek myth of Sisyphus to symbolize the absurdity of human existence. The gods condemned Sisyphus to push a boulder up a hill for eternity, only for it to roll back down every time. This futile task is much like our search for purpose in an indifferent universe. Camus believed we have three options when confronted with life's absurdity. We can either escape it through religion, suicide, or philosophical abstraction, or we can revolt against the absurd through radical freedom and passion. Unlike the detached Meursault, Camus advocated for complete engagement with life. We should live boldly, savoring every sensory experience. We have no rational or moral guidelines, only the drive for more life. While aware that existence has no inherent meaning, we create our own subjective meaning through action and choice. Life is a blank canvas upon which we can paint anything. Our confrontation with the absurd also makes moments of beauty and connection even more intense. We don't take life for granted when we know it's fleeting. Camus concludes that we should imagine Sisyphus happy, pushing his boulder for eternity, not resigned, but happy. Embracing his fate and the intrinsic joy of effort is his form of revolt. So Meursault misses the point. His indifference arises from the false assumption that life has no meaning because there is no God or cosmic plan. But for Camus, it is the absence of preset meaning that allows us to freely create our own. Let's shift gears now and explore Meursault's attitudes toward death, morality, and freedom. These two have larger philosophical implications. Meursault does not fear death. He views it as inevitable, just another part of the endless cycle of nature. There is no afterlife or salvation to hope for. Our mortal lives are all we have. Most striking is Meursault's indifference as he faces execution. He feels no more anguish about his impending death than missing a movie. This stoic calm contrasts starkly with the priest and magistrate's terror of mortality. Meursault also rejects traditional morality. He denies the existence of God, truth, or universal values. Morality is a human construction, not divine law. Meursault makes choices based on immediate sensations, not abstract principles of right and wrong. He kills the Arab man not out of malice, but physical heat and annoyance. His honesty about his motives shocks the court. They brand him a dangerous, soulless criminal because he doesn't feel guilt or adhere to religious norms. But Meursault simply rejects false constructs that restrict freedom in the name of tradition. Meursault's indifference stems from his radical freedom. With no God, no moral order, and no meaning, we are free to act as we choose. But this freedom can be overwhelming. Most people cling to society's rules and rituals to achieve the illusion of order and purpose. Meursault bravely accepts life's chaos and chooses to live freely. Yet the result is an existence composed of mundane moments without direction or passion. Meursault does nothing to positively assert his freedom. So while Meursault represents an attitude of indifference toward societal constructs, Camus advocates using our radical freedom to passionately engage with life. Existentialism emphasizes individual freedom and subjective experience over abstract thinking, but too much focus on the self can lead to solipsism. The belief that your mind is the only thing you can truly know exists. Meursault verges on this solipsism at times. He rejects attempts to analyze or explain his actions. From his first-person perspective, rational analysis is futile because he directly experiences his feelings and perceptions. The trial especially frustrates Meursault. He says that despite the magistrate's questions, he can teach the court nothing about his inner motivations. Our interior lives are inaccessible to language and logic. To convey his first-person reality, Meursault tells his story through concrete details and sensory impressions, avoiding explanation or interpretation. He describes his experiences exactly as he lives them. Meursault acknowledges no truth beyond his subjective perceptions. The universe contains only what he can directly see, hear, touch. He doubts he can even know his own deeper essence or motivations. This raises the philosophical problem of other minds. If we cannot know another's subjective experience, how can we understand them? Communication breaks down without shared rational analysis. Taken to the extreme, solipsism isolates us. Yet our shared humanity connects us if we recognize that we all struggle to make meaning of life's chaos. Existential themes like mortality and freedom transcend the individual, so Meursault represents the perils of detached solipsism cut off from broader human experience. Camus shows that embracing life involves connecting our subjective self to the larger community. The stranger powerfully critiques social norms and conformity. Through Meursault's perspective as an outsider, though he harms no one, he's branded a monster for nonconformity. Society exerts immense pressure on individuals to comply with unspoken rules of behavior, belief, and morality. Deviation from cultural standards threatens the herd mentality. Even our language conveys shared social assumptions. As Meursault observes, certain phrases imply moral positions without stating them outright. Words like criminal convey judgment beyond simple description. By refusing to acknowledge unspoken social codes and express the expected emotions, Meursault draws hostility. Society labels him an outcast for his lack of apparent humanity. Yet Meursault lives more sincerely than those who cling to empty rights and beliefs. He rejects hollow consolations like religion and accepts life's uncertainty. Though harsh, his philosophy represents a purer human experience. He lays bare an existentialist reality that society desperately hides through rituals, religion, and routine. In exclusively valuing conformity and tradition, society becomes hostile to authentic individual expression. We punish nonconformists to protect our artificial belief systems. The stranger argues that only by embracing the meaninglessness of life can we experience humanity's full complexity. Though harsh and disturbing, Meursault's indifferent worldview offers an honest assessment of the human condition.